Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me for another video. This is Quita from At Home with Quita, and here I share tips on how to plan a balanced life. So if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing. So are you setting up a new planner and you want to avoid some common pitfalls? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down to you the 7 mistakes that people often make when starting with a new planner and how to fix them. So let's get into it. Alright you guys, so today I'm going to be setting up my 2025 planner, and I thought I would talk to you about some common mistakes that people make when they're setting up or getting started with the new planner system. So I have everything laid out in front of me. A lot of things I'm going to be pulling from my old planner and transitioning into this planner because it worked. And some stuff I'm going to purge out because it didn't work, and some stuff I got new so that way I can refresh things a little bit. So let's get this party started. And again, I'm going to talk to you while I'm setting things up about those planner mistakes that you can avoid. All right, so I got a couple of things here. You guys saw that I recently transitioned into this hardcover. I'm low-key obsessed with our hardcovers. If you didn't know, we announced recently that we now have these hardcovers. They are going to be eventually added to every listing. Right now, they're just added to our new Moody Aesthetic collection, and then also one other collection. I think it's the Modern Abstract collection. And so that's what I'm going to be using. I love this design. I already had used it. I tested it out. I always take the rejects. So this one has some imperfections according to me. You might not see them. And so this is what I'm going to be using as my cover for 2025. I think it's just gorgeous. The entire collection gives me so much life. It's very, very much aesthetic, and that's what everybody goes for, okay? I got 3 new pin loops. I keep 3 pins in my planner, so I'm gonna transition to all white. Right now we have a gray one, a pink one, and a black one. We wanna be uniform, so we got that. I have our 1.75 discs. These are equivalent to Happy Planner Expander discs. And so these are going to fit in here perfectly. I need as much space as I can get. I have my gray pen, all of which, again, all of this is available in our shop. So if you have any questions, I'll link everything below. And the superstar of the show, I am transitioning from the Black Ostrich, which I love, by the way. I'm low-key gonna be super sad to leave this planner. It's just so gorgeous. The cover is life. And I might be back to this. I'm sure I will sometime in 2025. But it's so gorgeous. But she's going to be using a different cover because I think it's going to flow a little bit more with the aesthetics of everything. And that is, I feel like I need some like music to cue up so I can slowly pull the dust bag off and show you this gorgeous gray cover that I'm going to be using for 2025, right? That flows, right? With the gray and then that, and then the disc with the white pin loops. Oh, it's going to be pretty. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using. This is how the inside of it looks. So chic. I can't wait. Okay, so we have all of our supplies out and ready. So now, again, we're going to be putting some new things in. Just going to kind of talk you through this whole setup while I share with you those mistakes that you can avoid. So let's jump right into mistake number 1, and that is planning the same way as everyone else is. Okay, you've probably seen those pretty, no white space, lots of color and stuff happening type of planner spreads on the internet. Y'all, don't be fooled. Those spreads take a while to set up and they don't leave much space to do any actual planning. So instead, start using your new planner with no decoration and then slowly add as the weeks go on. Okay, that's tip number 1, because a lot of times we'll see those spreads on the internet and we want to be just like that, but really we just need to start simple and slow. Okay, until we can kind of get in our groove, and then you can start to slowly incorporate new things. Okay, so here are some ideas that you could incorporate. You could do planner stickers for recurring tasks. You could also use some washi tape for maybe the borders and covering up things that aren't relevant to you, like headings and quotes. Okay, you could also color code. A lot of people do color coding, and I started to incorporate it, and it has been so life-changing in terms of the functionality of my planner. Also highlighters, as you can see, well, you haven't seen it yet, but I do incorporate a highlighter in my planner system, and that is this Essenti Soft, which these are available in our shop. I love this highlighter, and I just keep it gray just because it's just simple. It's great to have a highlighter in your planner system. You can also underline those important tasks, which is super helpful. Okay, also checklists. They have checklist planner stickers. You could use those, and those are very helpful as well. And then also one of my favorites is using a half page insert instead of a full page, just to be able to just jot down some things. Sometimes it just gives you just enough space. All right. Also stamps for things like trackers. All right. So that's tip number one, is that you don't want to be planning the same way as everybody else. Okay. You want to plan like you plan. And I know at the beginning, you may not know what that is yet, but eventually you will start to discover your style. And so then you can start incorporating the various different things to really make it your own. All right. I was going to pull this vellum, but now y'all, I think I kind of want to low key pause this video and go downstairs to the shop and create really quickly some vellum for a Moody Aesthetic collection and put one of those in here. Would that be doing the most? I don't think it would be doing the most. So let me do that real quick. Hold please, I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back. And that only took a couple of minutes for me, but you guys didn't see that. So I went ahead and created 3 of them. I'm gonna add more to this collection, but I added the flower and then I added the architecture. And so I'm gonna replace this one with one of these, and then I'm gonna add the other one. I just want everything to flow with the collection, because when I had this in here, I had a different cover which went with this collection. So now everything is gonna flow properly. All right, so I think I'm going to put the architecture first, and then we're gonna jump into the second point, because remember, we're talking about some mistakes that you don't want to avoid when you're doing what I'm doing, setting up a new planner. So we're going to keep this in our stash. I'm going to pull that off. I'm going to pull this off, and we're just going to keep it on where we had it just because it worked. And I like having this because I can use it in one of my sections if needed. I like having stuff already in my planner on hand. I think I'm going to keep this. I was going to change that to a different color. But we'll keep it. And I'm just going to attach that right there at the top. All right, just to give myself some reminders. It doesn't really go with the motif of it or whatever, or the zhuzh, or the, you know, the aesthetics, if you will. But I like having those reminders there. So we're gonna keep it just because I like it. All right, moving on. All right, I'm also gonna go ahead and add in this 100 things to track in your planner. I feel like it just works. And this is one of our most popular vellums. And we also have this in insert form. So I'm gonna add this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add in a few more things that you'll see me add in, one being the table of contents. And then I'm gonna talk you through the second point. I am going to remove this. I wanna add a new little quote. This is a little saying that I love having in here. So maybe I'll add this to a different section. It says, this week's affirmation, I control my own happiness. I love that. It really did help. So I'm going to pull a sticky note from our quote notepad, and I'm going to add it here. Once I decide what I want to put here, then I'll come back and I'll write it. All right. So we've got our table of contents there. Okay. 2 pages already pre-written or pre-typed. All right. So we're going to add in our first section. So let's jump into the second mistake, which is that you're not planning how you're specifically going to use the planner while I add in this 2025 year at a glance, okay? So you wanna make sure that this is your planner. You should use it, you need to be using it how you're gonna use it, not someone else. So I know we see all these beautiful things on social media, we see all these different videos, and we kind of try, we don't mean to, but we may end up adopting that person's style of planning, which is okay to pick and choose some various aspects of their planning style, but this is your planner. So you need to make sure that you are planning how you're going to use the planner. Now I am going to keep in the 2024 as well because we're still in 2024. So I'm going to pop that back in, but I did add 2025 year at a glance pages. Okay, so here are a few things to consider beyond the weekly spread. Okay, so you need to consider what you are going to record in your planner. So what are you going to put in each section of the weekly spread and the weekly sidebar if you plan on using the sidebar, and your monthly pages? What are you going to write in there? And also, are you going to meal plan? Are you going to do that weekly? Are you going to do that on the monthly spread? Are you going to do that on a separate planner altogether? And then how are you going to use the notes section in your planner? Those are just a few things to consider, as well as where are you going to record seasonal tasks and like one-off things that people often forget. Consider just all of the different aspects of the planner, all of the features of the planner, and how you personally are going to use that planner to make sure that you are being the most productive person that you can be. Okay, so again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at videos on social media or on YouTube like this one and you see different things in people's planners that you're like, oh, that would be so cool to try in my planner. There's nothing wrong with that, but you also want to make sure that you are using that planner specifically to enhance your life based on what's going to work best for you. All right, the next tip is that you're not tearing out the pages. There are some planners, especially when it comes to the coiled planners and some systems, where there are pages that you're just not going to use. Even a dismount system. You know, if you buy a planner that already has everything all already assembled, there are some pages in there that you may not need. So get rid of those bad boys, okay? Because one thing it's going to do is bulk your planner up. And then the second thing is that you have unnecessary pages in there. There's things that you just don't need. So take those pages out, okay? So you can store your contacts on your phone if you have a contact page. So you may not want to have that in your planner because we all have phones, and that'll free up some space, okay? So if there's pages that you don't use or you don't need, take those out, okay? Or you can cover them up with stuff that's more relevant to you. You can use washi tape, stickers, sticky notes, things like that. Some of the pages can be converted into other different types of planner pages. So you may not necessarily have to get rid of them, but you definitely want to either get rid of them or repurpose them. Okay, the contacts pages can be converted like into a password log by just whiting out the relevant titles. Another option is to print a printable and stick it straight over top of that particular insert, which is another great option. Okay, so I just added a top tab, my first top tab, which is my work section, and I'm not adding any 2025 inserts just yet because I don't want to bulk my planner up too much. So I'm still finishing out in December because we still are in December, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the 2025 inserts once December is over. So I'm adding my ruler here. I have a ruler in each one of my sections. This is different from my flip through video that I showed. I did make a couple of changes and I just wanted to point those out. So I have one here, and then I also have one in my regular planner section, which this actually, no, that's correct. Okay. And I love these just because they're so neutral, and they still have that little top tab there to get you to the page that you're trying to get to. All right. So I love all these little half sheets that I'm putting in as well. So I'm trying to use these for next week. So I'm going to test them out. Everything is about testing, trial and error, right? So I have a task list because our sub box is coming out. So I want to go ahead and log the items here and then start chipping away at printing those and assembling those or whatever I have to do. That habit tracker. And then I use this life admin half sheet, which I love, by the way. These are fairly new. We have them in half sheet and full sheet. And then the layout that I love has just been this layout. It's going super duper strong. And it's the vertical line version 2. And when it comes to these half sheets, as you can see, the layering effect is because I'm using a mini half sheet and I'm using a half letter. So you don't always have to use the appropriate size for your planner. If you're using, like, let's say the same as mine, half letter, you can pop in a mini and a personal size, the various different half sheets. Now, not a full sheet, but sometimes I do pop in a full sheet too. As long as it's smaller than what your current layout is or your current planner pages, then it's going to give you that layering effect, which I absolutely love. Okay, so we're still in our business section, and I'm just adding the various things that I know still work. And all right, so let's talk about the fourth mistake, and that is that you're not planning the big things first. That's important, okay? So think about the rocks, pebbles, and sand analogy. We've heard this several times before, right? If you fill your time with the sand, the little things, then you have no room for the medium priority things like the pebbles. And then the big things like the rocks. So before you write anything in your planner, get a clear idea of what your goals are and when you want to achieve each goal, and then start adding the other things to your planner. So make sure that you're planning for all of those big tasks first, so that way you can fit in the more important things, and then you can start to add in those other smaller, less important tasks. Okay, so I need to go ahead and add this back to the section where it goes. I don't know how this got lost. All right, and then we're moving into our next section, which is our inbox section. So we have a top tab for certain things, and we have a side tab for certain things. I'm not changing out what's on the dashboard just because it works and I like it. But every now and then I do come and I remove things and I add different things. But I like having sticky notes and things like that on the dashboard, so that way I can go ahead and have it available to me. Remember, I talked about just having access to those things already. So as you can see, I had the quote already here. I did have a notepad in my, or a sticky note in my drawer, but I have that as well. So in this section, we're adding our GTD method. I don't use the whole thing. I just have this page here just for reference, and a task list. And then I have, just for reference, the brain dump page, because this is a whole set of inserts, just like the GTD method is a whole set of inserts. I just sometimes like having just the cover page there just to spark some ideas on, you know, planning and making sure I'm writing in all the necessary tasks I'm trying to get done. All right, then I have my inbox, which I'm still chipping away at. I take that and I add that to my main planner, so that way I am making sure that I'm getting those things accomplished too. Okay, then we have our routine. All right, while we talk about the fifth mistake that you're making, and that is that you're handwriting everything. Now, I love a good handwriting, okay? I am always writing in my planner. I love the art of just writing things out, if that makes sense. I think it does. We all speak the same language here, right? So you can do that, of course. I like to have some handwritten things, and I like to have some typed out things. As you can see, I like to have a mixture of both. I do a lot of writing, but it's not going to be, or it may not be sustainable for you to be able to write everything, because there are so many time-saving planning tools that are available to you these days. Again, we talked about stickers. Stickers can be so helpful. Icons for recurring tasks, or even like header stickers. Also, color coding stickers are great, so that you don't always have to use a some sort of marker or highlighter. Okay, so consider that. Now, how I am not paying attention or something, because this actually goes there. So don't feel like you have to write everything in your planner, because that's just not, that may not be sustainable, and there's no reason for it. You know, use the tools and resources that are available to you. Also, printables. That's a great way to have those like habit trackers and things like that. Different pages that may already just have things pre-written. So like if this were blank, for instance, and this didn't have these different sections, of course you would write them in, but this particular insert already has it written in. So find printables like that that already have certain things pre-plugged in, and then everything else you can fill in with a pen. Because of course, yes, you do have to write in your planner, but you don't have to write everything. That's going to get exhausting, and then that's going to make it to where you may not want to pick up your planner. And we want you to keep picking up your planner and keep using your planner to help you to be the most productive you can be. All right, so our next section is home. And within the home section, I'm still looking to see if I need to purge anything or move or rearrange anything. I tried to do that on the front end of this video, so that way I wouldn't have to do that now. Do I want to layer that? I don't want to use this. I needed to find a place to put that, right? I want to use that. Right? Let's do that. And then I can still use this grid for somewhere else, because I do like having a grid, because I feel like with the grid, I'm able to place things on the grid. And I like the grid. But I'm going to remove these and add them here, because I still need to have those within my planner system. All right, then we're going to go ahead and add our meal planner. So I have the meal planner for the next month already in here. I should have it in here for the next month, or the current month, which is, we're in December. So I'm going to go ahead and add the entire meal planner I know you see me adding one page here, one page there. That's just because I want to make sure that I'm going to use that page for 2025 before I add it. And I know I'm going to use a meal planner. And then we have some extra grocery list inserts. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove out these recipe cards because I already used them. According to my meal plan, I already used these, so I don't need them in here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out and add them to my meal planner. But I do have some blank, or I have one blank one that I'm going to put in here. This is double-sided, so I can put 2 recipes here. So that's going to be perfect. So we'll put this to the side. And then we're going to add in this home stuff. This is like all of my cleaning. This is decluttering guide. Yeah, cleaning routine, daily schedule, projects, things like that. All right, and then this is just for Addison's school. I like to have these additional calendar pages in here. I have 2 of them, so that way I already have them ready for me. And then we're gonna add in our financial section. All right, while we talk about the 6th mistake is that you're not setting up a color coding system. Now, in my opinion, color coding is not necessarily for everyone, but it works for so many people. So have some sort of coding system because that's going to save you time and it's also going to save you a lot of space in your planner. So here are a few options. So you can just flat out color code, or you can use some sort of symbols, or you can use some dot stickers or a highlighter, whatever works for you. But figure out whatever that system is going to be. Try it out and see if it's something that you think will work for you. Everything, again, for me, in my opinion, is all about trial and error. You know, you may try something one week and it may work, or you may think it works. And then over time, you're like, you know what, this is not working for me long term. So then you switch up to something else. So color coding is a system that a lot of people use that is very beneficial for them. And so just try and test it out to see if maybe it could help you if you feel like something's missing within your system. Okay, especially if you're new, I recommend trying it out on the front end. And then again, if it's not working at the end of the day, then remove it as a part of your system. So I just went ahead and add in our financial wellness workbook for the month of December. Because again, we're not adding January inserts just yet. I know I'm setting up my 2025 planner, but we are not adding in anything for 2025 besides the year at a glance because we're still in December and that's going to bulk up my planner so much. So I want to wait. All right, so I'm going to add this here because this is the fitness section that I'm getting ready to add, or I just added. I didn't want to get rid of that or the grid vellum because I like both of them. And I just love that peekaboo layering effect like that. And then I think that this sticky note is so fitting for this because I'm on a whole fitness journey right now and that's going to help me to keep pushing forward. All right, so now I'm going to add in all of my fitness related stuff, which is really just the food fitness calorie trackers. I got a few of those in here. And otherwise, I use MyFitnessPal to do all things when it comes to my fitness. All right, then we're going to add in our faith side tab. Okay, and then we have a couple of things that we do for faith. This is my meeting prep routine. And then I'm going book by book and just writing in what each chapter covers, my weekly study schedule. Oh, I guess I just popped that in. I need to punch that. And then the Bible schedule, Bible reading schedule. All right, then our last tab and our last mistake is that you are expecting your planner to be perfect. Okay, now I've been planning for so many years, and I still don't always feel like I found the perfect system, and that's why I'm always changing things up with my system. So I try different things. You see me try different weekly spreads, I try different monthly spreads, I try to color code, I try to time block. I just do different things based on the season I am in my life, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think I encourage you to do that. Okay, but you can't expect everything to be perfect from the beginning. All right, you just want to try different things to see what's going to work out for you. Try different layouts, try different binding systems, try a coil binder, try a coil planner, try, a discbound planner, try a notebook, and just see what works best for you. At the end of the day, again, remember, I keep saying this is your planner and you want it to work best for you. Okay, so before ordering all the things, do a little test run with a few things. And then if you see that those things are working, then you can go ham and buy all the things because you know that that system is going to work for you. Okay, so that's the 7th point, is that you want to have realistic expectations. It's not going to be perfect from the beginning. Over time, maybe it'll get close to perfect, but I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. But as long as it works for you, then in my mind, it is perfect. In your mind, it should be perfect as well, you know, to some degree. Okay, so have realistic expectations from the beginning, set the tone appropriately, and just know that over time things will get better, things will get easier. You'll start to really, really love this whole thing you're doing, but initially don't expect that perfection to just be there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop in this. I love this here because it has all the different slots for me to be able to fill with all the things, so that way I have it on hand. And then I talked to you about this page here and the fact that I had 3 different pin loops. I used 3 different pins in my planner, but they were pink, purple, and gray. I'm not sure how that flew by me because usually I'm pretty good about making sure everything is uniform. I was probably like, it's in the back of my planner. Nobody's going to see it. I'm not going to see. So what does it matter? But we're going to go ahead and change it now since we're doing these tweaks. So here's the 3 pins I use, this, all of which are in our shop. I love this pin here. It writes so perfectly. I feel like it's 0.5 because it's a little bit thinner in how it writes. And then I have this as my highlighter, and then this is perfect for writing on sticky notes. It's the Pilot permanent pen. So I love this. So I keep this at the top, and then this at the bottom, and then this in here, either in here or in the planner, which has its own pin loop. So these are the 3 pins I use. So I'm just gonna really quickly replace the pin loops with the white ones, so that way they're all the same. I did have gray ones, but they ran out of stock. Otherwise, I would use the gray ones. All right, and I'm gonna try to get it in the same location. And I don't want to not ever use these again, so I'm going to add the page that I took off, so that way that they don't go to waste. They don't get stuck together. All right, that looks so much better, right? So the purpose of this one really is whenever I don't use a cover. Sometimes I just use this cover that's on here without using the leather cover. And so if that's the case, I have a 3rd pin loop there, all right? You do gotta break them in a little bit too, because they're so tight right there. And so over time, they'll loosen up. All right, so there's my 2. And then in the back here, I like to keep this little pocket folder here. It has just some random things in here. This is double-sided, by the way. It has our paint swatch for our house and just some random things I like to stick. I always like to have a good pocket back here. So I put that way in the back. Okay, and then I think I do need to move this pin loop a little bit more out. There we go. But not too far out so that it sticks past the cover. All right, so there is that. Now, where did I put? There we go. Okay, let's slide this baby into our cover so we can see how everything is looking. And again, you could totally just do it like this. It's super gorgeous, right? Look at how pretty that is with this hardcover. Y'all aren't gonna really be able to see the beauty of this hardcover unless you have one. It's just so pretty to me. And then I love these little gold embellishments on the end. We have a flow going here because we added this from the Moody Aesthetic Collection, just like the cover is from the Moody Aesthetic Collection. Everything is just so pretty. My top tabs, everything looks neutral with a little pop of color here and there. My pin loops in the back are cohesive. And I have an extra one just in case I need it. I decided to take the leather cover off and use it just like this. This is not going to get scratched up because there's a protective layer on top of it, and it's very sturdy. So I could use it like this. It's so gorgeous like this. It really is. Okay, I like to slide this in the pocket. I did have this stuck in like that, but I low-key want to slide it in the pocket because it does bulk up my planner just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. I also want to go ahead and add in this right here, which is just my little, I like to move this from week to week. It's my little inspiration here. Oh, this actually goes here. That I laminated. It's spiritual reminders. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add it in the planner. Look at how gorgeous that is. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so pretty. And then I'll be ready for 2025. So I've shared with you guys some mistakes, some things that that may be helpful in your whole journey in setting up your planner for 2025. There's my pen. I'm going to slide it in. Look at how pretty that is. You cannot tell me anything right now with how pretty this planner looks. Look at the whole flow of it. The gray is just it's just giving me so much life. So I'm going to slide this right in the pocket. Don't typically use all of these pockets here, but you totally could if you wanted to. And then also this goes in here in the calendar section at the year at a glance. So soon I'll be purging this out once we get finished with December. I technically could purge it out because I did write all of these December tasks on my December monthly. So if I wanted to, oh, and I'm going to take this off too, because I'm going to add the 2025 cover page once I get it printed. I didn't print it yet. I'll add that here and I'll move it. So I was talking about my monthly. So I did go ahead and write in all those at a glance tasks on my monthly. Technically, I can remove it, but I'm gonna wait until it's officially 2025. Y'all, look at that setup. Look at that setup. Okay, so let me just recap these 7 mistakes with you guys. Also, I'm gonna add this. I love this flower. I had it on the cover like this, but I'm not sure if I want to keep it on the cover. We have these in white and also in this black. Maybe I'll use it to loop bind this together just temporarily, but I love that. It's such a pretty flower. So again, just to recap the mistakes, you want to make sure that you are not planning the same way as everybody else. Okay, if you see all those pretty spreads on the internet, yeah, that's fine and dandy, but how are you going to use the planner? You want to make sure that you are not comparing yourself to others and that you are actually planning the way that you're going to plan, okay? Which is kind of leads us into the second thing, which was not planning how you're going to use the planner, okay? Just really decide what's within the planner, what are the pages that are included, and figure out how you're going to use those pages to help you, okay? You may have to tear out some pages, which was the third thing. That's fine and dandy. If you don't want to tear them out, you can use different elements, different pages to cover up those pages, wipe them out, use stickers, do whatever you have to do if you don't want to waste them. And then fourth, make sure that you're planning for the big things first and then fill everything else in that isn't as important as those big things. Then also don't handwrite everything, print things out, use stickers, use other elements, washi tapes, things like that to make sure that you don't have to write everything. And then color code if needed, and then don't expect everything to be perfect from the beginning. This is a journey that you're on. If you're serious about the journey, then you want to make sure that you you have realistic expectations with your planner system, okay? All right, y'all. So we have our planner set up for 2025. Go us. There's a couple of elements that I still need to include in this planner, like all of my 2025 monthly and weekly pages, and then the 2025 cover page. But so far, I'm like obsessed already with the whole setup of everything. I think it just flows so well. Not that the black ostrich didn't, it served its purpose, but I feel like this is just so clean and aesthetically pleasing and neutral, but it also has some pops of color here and there, which is what I like. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. I hope that you found some value here. Hopefully that you've been inspired with something I've said or shown you here, which means you'll give me a thumbs up on this video. Of course, I want you to subscribe if you're new here, as well as coming back and catching another video, in which case I'll see you guys then.